Okay, so about the influence of America on the world. Just this is the Donald Duck. It's a magazine I grew up with. So when I was like 3 years old or something, I would already read this, loved it. And a lot of people don't realize how incredibly influential the United States is. I basically grew up as an American kid, and that's basically because of the Second World War. America was the country that basically liberated us. Here in the Netherlands it was mostly Canadians and the UK, but of course after D-Day, etc., the Americans were the big winners. Growing up in the early 80s, that idea was kind of still there, but the Vietnam War had really done a lot of damage. My movies were American, my music was American, all the television series that I saw. And I think I gravitated towards that culture as well, so I guess I'm even more Americanized. The differences are slight. You've probably seen Pulp Fiction, and then it talks about them.
But you know the funniest thing about Europe is?
What?
It's the little differences.
The little differences. Like Mickey Mouse is way bigger of a character in the United States, and Donald Duck is much more popular here because Donald Duck is he's more Dutch. He's more angry. He does his own thing. He doesn't really give a shit about people. But in the end, he's kind of nice, you know. And Mickey Mouse is just like family friendly, and he's safe. And but America's influence in the world is gigantic. I almost get locked up in my brain like how incredibly American everything is. And sometimes it's just not that obvious for the untrained eye, but this is a Dutch politician showing his family, unheard of until a few years ago. This is a strip mall where you can easily park your car so you can go shopping. Also an American concept. And this is a naturalization ceremony for new immigrants who just got their Dutch passport. And when it comes to little differences, here in Holland you have two different types of pledges. One with a God
Veilig helpen mij God Almachtig.
and one without.
Dat verklaar en beloof ik.
Maybe you'll understand it if I flip it around. Like, how many things do you know from the Netherlands? Just hardly any. And now imagine all the things that I experienced while growing up. I mean, when I was 14, I would do skateboarding. That comes from the United States. I would listen to punk rock, all Californian bands. Like we would have European bands and Dutch bands doing the same thing.
Take control, life is a day.
The brands that we love, the games I would play. Well, I can go on and on and on and on. It was, you get it. So flip it around and think of the Netherlands. How much do you know about the Netherlands? Probably not that much. And because even if there's like a Dutch character somewhere in a movie, it's wild off. Like the guy from Austin Powers.
Look, everyone, my Vinky was a key.
Only a bloody Dutchman.
In no way is he Dutch to me. Like, his accent isn't Dutch, he doesn't look Dutch, there's like nothing Dutch about him. And then when I go to the United States, there's like people asking me questions about him, or, you know, trying to get a laugh out of it, and which is fine. Like, I like hanging out with people and laughing with them, but it has nothing to do with the country I'm from, you know. Then a lot of people, of course, know our weed, which also is interesting because now Colorado is actually a country that's farther ahead than us on that whole thing. And then maybe you know about the whole hookers thing, Rembrandt, you probably know Rembrandt. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, then you know Carice van Houten. 2 Unlimited is something that you know from maybe NHL games. What else? So I think that one of the things that's important is that Americans start realizing that they are a superpower in the rest of the world. There are, of course, countries where they don't have that much influence, but when it comes to Western Europe, holy shit, man. It's just like, we have a shitload of American military bases. They give us protection from evildoers in the rest of the world. But the consequence of that is also that we are, you know, that safety umbrella is also a cultural umbrella, and I don't think that a lot of Americans know this and feel this and understand it, because if Joey from Ohio goes to Holland, he'll probably, you know, see the differences, etc., but he probably won't understand how much of the American influence is also still there. I mean, the idea of a supermarket, even the fucking idea of a supermarket is American. And maybe this is my first topical video because of a reason, because these things, like Make America Great Again, it's not just about Donald Trump. It's about this general feeling that I sometimes get when I go to the U.S., where there is this narrative in the United States that America does well in the world when it portrays its power. And let me just say that's total bullshit. It's true that when America shows power, it becomes powerful. It doesn't become much more loved. Obama is an incredibly popular president abroad, and at home he's being vilified for being just too nuanced and etc. But in general, the world likes a nuanced, friendly, normal, thoughtful, just a morally right America. The times that Vietnam was invaded or that Iraq was invaded were just not the best times for America. I mean, and if you just don't believe that, then I feel that you're living in a bubble. And I say that because I can kind of see that bubble sometimes. And I have lived inside the bubble. Not entirely, because I lived in the cities. But if I go to rural America and I see it, I hear these opinions from people that, frankly, have never traveled, don't really know about the rest of the world, and they portray this image as if America is like the best, greatest, whatever country. And I love that about the United States. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's part of my fascination with it, that it can be so outlandish. It can just start wars, it can end them, it can take over economies, it can force its culture on people. I think I saw America being described as like the most powerful nation that the world has ever seen, and I think it's totally correct. The position of the United States is so incredibly powerful that I think it's almost a duty of Americans to start listening in to that fact and realize it and understand what it means when America does something. There's always been some sort of like back and forth, of course, between the United States and Europe and the rest of the world. So it's not like it's a total one-way street. I'm just saying that the dominance of the United States in that exchange is so vastly bigger than whatever America adopts from elsewhere, right? So that's what I mean.